Hi, this is Father Tom Page again. I'm the pastor of St. Jude in Grand Rapids and the administrator for St. Anne's in Baldwin and St. Ignatius in Luther. And today we begin this most holy week of the year. And it begins this Sunday with technically called Palm Sunday of the Lord's Passion. This year, though, it's more like Palmless Sunday of the Lord's Passion. So because we're not able to gather together to pray, we are going to wait until the parishes are able to pray together. At that point, the bishop's going to pick out a date when we can bless and distribute the palms. And it'll be kind of another way of connecting with the church throughout our diocese as we do that sometime in the future together. But typically today in this weekend's feast, there's a little introduction just before the palms would have been blessed. And I think it's an important and significant introduction, not only for the season of Lent and this Holy Week, but for what we're dealing with this pandemic that is so much affecting our lives and bringing the suffering and the death that it's bringing. So here's how we would typically begin our masses on this Palm Sunday. The priest would say, "Brothers and sisters, since the beginning of Lent until now, we've been preparing our hearts by penance and charitable works. Today, we gather together, yet separately, to herald with the whole church the beginning of the celebration of the Lord's Paschal mystery, that is to say, of his passion and resurrection. For it was to accomplish this mystery that he entered into his own city of Jerusalem. Therefore, with all faith and devotion, let us commemorate the Lord's entry into the city for our salvation. Let us follow in his footsteps, so that being made by his grace partakers of the cross, we may have a share also in his resurrection." Let me read just a very short part of the Passion that normally would be read, and we'll read tomorrow for the Mass. It's from St. Matthew's Gospel. It is pretty much at the end of the Passion. From noon onward, darkness came over all the land until 3 in the afternoon. It was about then that Jesus cried out in a loud voice, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani," quoting this 22nd Psalm. It means, my God, why have you forsaken me?" Some of the bystanders who heard it said, "He is calling for Elijah." Immediately, one of them ran to get a sponge. He soaked it in wine and, putting it on a reed, gave it to him to drink. "Wait, let us see if Elijah comes to save him," someone said. But Jesus cried out again in a loud voice and gave up his spirit. I'd like you to imagine the scene that we remember on this Sunday especially, the scene of Jesus getting ready to go into Jerusalem. He must have known. He had talked of what was waiting for him. He knew that what was waiting for him was going to be awful, with suffering and death. And yet, with resolve, he entered into the city. And with determination, he did what needed to be done. And he said what needed to be said. And he did it all with a sense of resolve and a sense of determination that this is why he came. Not for himself, but for the salvation of all. It's with that determination that Jesus got on the donkey and rode into the city and then faced the suffering and the passion of those days and suffered his death. It's in this coming week and for a few weeks beyond that we'll experience like probably we never have before in our lives, suffering and disease and death. And in the midst of it, we walk into these weeks ahead with hopefully the same resolve with which Jesus entered into the city. We work to do what we can to make life better for others, to make our lives safer and healthier, but not just for ourselves, but that others might be safer and others might be healthier. And we look for ways not to just be concerned about our own self, about our own inconveniences and our own suffering, but we look to find ways to address the needs and the suffering, perhaps the death of those we know, and certainly the suffering and the death that will be present in our state and in our country and throughout our world. Jesus entered into the city knowing that it was going to be awful, knowing that he would suffer greatly and die. But he also had trust and hope and confidence that he would rise beyond all of it. And today it's with that faith and hopefully with that resolve that we journey into this coming week, the week we call Holy. Hopefully it's with that same resolve, that same determination that we serve the needs of others, that we face the difficulties, the awfulness of life, confident in the resurrection from the dead. It's with our faith together that we face the week to come. Now let me make some announcements for the coming week. If you have Facebook, and even if you don't, you can sign up for Facebook, and they tell me that it's quite easy to do. If you have Facebook, you can connect with the St. Jude Facebook page over the next week, and there will be times that we will, on a live basis, be having Mass and you'll be able to see the streaming of that Mass. On Sunday, for me, tomorrow, but you might be seeing this on Sunday also, at 10:30 in the morning, we'll be celebrating Mass, and it'll be streamed on our Facebook page at St. Jude, Mass at 10:30. On Holy Thursday, at 7 o'clock at night, the Mass will be streamed on Facebook. The Good Friday service will be at 1 o'clock and again streamed. The Easter Vigil at 9 p.m. will be streamed. And then on Sunday morning, on Easter Sunday morning, a Mass again at 10:30 in the morning will be streamed. Again, thank you for being part of this, and thank you for your prayers, your resolve, and your service in the week to come.